I remember the day she left like a storm ripping through a clear sky. Alina had been my world for 3 years. Our mornings full of shared coffee and whispered plans. Our dreams tangled together like the cords of her headphones. And then, she chose someone else. Pilot. Someone who could soar while I was grounded in disbelief. I sank into the couch, Mara across from me, shaking her head. I don't get it, Alex. She was yours. I said, voice tight. And suddenly, she's not. Just like that. My hands trembled around the coffee mug, but I forced a laugh. I mean, how do you even compete with a pilot? Someone who literally flies away from reality whenever she wants. Mara's eyes softened. It's not about flying. It's about how she left you. That's exactly it. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling, the memory pressing against my chest. 3 years, Mara. 3 years of breakfast plans, late-night movies, even arguing about which apartment we'd rent next month gone. No explanation. No warning. Just empty skies where she used to be. Mara reached across, gripping my arm. You're better than this, Alex. You will rise. She just underestimated what you're capable of. I laughed bitterly. Rise? Mara. She left me for someone with wings. And here I am, still learning to stand on solid ground. You're not broken, she said firmly. You're evolving. And trust me, when you do, she won't even be allowed near your cockpit. Her words struck me harder than I expected. A spark ignited, a reckless, stubborn determination to reclaim my life, my power, my dignity. And maybe, just maybe, one day I'd be the one piloting the jet she could never enter. I picked up my mug again, pretending the warmth could seep into my chest. Yeah, I whispered, more to myself than Mara. One day, I'll fly higher than she ever dreamed. The days after Alina left felt like my life had nosedived without a parachute. Friends whispered behind my back, their pity slicing sharper than any blade. Even the barista at my favorite cafe seemed to smirk when I asked for my usual. Mara slid into the booth across from me, her eyes scanning the pile of unpaid bills on the table. Alex, you can't keep hiding behind these, she said. I'm not hiding, I muttered, shoving a ticket she left behind into my jacket pocket. The one for our planned trip to Venice. I'm processing. Is that a crime? Processing. Mara leaned in. You're drowning. Look at you. You're replaying every smile. Every, I love you. Like they were contracts you failed to uphold. I laughed hollowly. Maybe I did fail. Maybe I wasn't enough. The words felt like admitting defeat, but I couldn't stop them. Mara's hand gripped mine. Enough? Alex, she wasn't worth enough for you. Don't let her ghost define your value. Later, I wandered through our apartment, my fingers brushing the photo album we'd made together. Each page burned, laughs frozen in time, promises scrawled in the margins, moments I thought eternal. And then the plane tickets, crumpled in a drawer, mocking me silently. I didn't notice Daniel at first. He leaned against the doorway, calm, unshakable. I see the storm, he said quietly. You're grounded, yes, but storms clear skies, don't they? I stared at him. And what? You think I'll just get over it? Daniel shook his head. Not over it, through it. Skill, intelligence, courage, these aren't just words. They're wings. You reclaim your power not by wishing, but by acting. I clenched my fists. And if I fail again? You won't. You have the fire. You just don't see it yet. His words lingered long after he left. I closed the photo album, the plane tickets slipping back into the drawer. A quiet rage simmered inside me. Grief entwined with anger, humiliation sharpening my edges. I whispered to the empty room, I will rise again. She won't see this coming. For the first time since she left, I felt something like control, small, tentative, but undeniably mine. Scrolling through social media had become a form of torture. Every photo, every story, every check-in from Alina and Jordan felt like a spotlight on everything I had lost. Mara leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. You're letting him haunt you, Alex. And honestly, you're feeding him power. I slammed my phone down. Haunt me? He's not even here, Mara. He doesn't know me. He doesn't understand what it feels like to lose someone who promised the world. Mara sighed. Maybe, but he's human too, Alex. Flawed, arrogant, careless. And trust me, you're letting that envy eat you alive. I shook my head, bitter. Envy? It's more than that. It's seeing her laugh at the same stupid jokes she told me. It's knowing she trusts him now. It's every plan we made evaporating into thin air. Daniel appeared in the doorway, calm as ever. And yet, here you are, alive. Painful, yes, but alive. You can let jealousy consume you, or you can use it to fuel something bigger. I don't want bigger. I want her. I admitted, voice raw. Not her, Daniel corrected. Your life, your potential. Later that week, I met Jordan briefly at a mutual friend's gathering. He had the kind of arrogance that made people lean in, laugh at his jokes, and forgive his careless arrogance. Alina clung to him effortlessly, the same way she once leaned on me. I hated him instantly and couldn't stop studying him. Afterward, Mara nudged me. So? Thoughts. I hate him, and I envy him, and yet he's just a guy. My fingers brushed the pilot's jacket Alina had left behind, its fabric smelling faintly of her perfume. But this, I whispered, holding it close. This could be my fire. Daniel nodded when I showed him. Exactly. That's not just a jacket. That's ambition. Take it. Let it remind you that one day, the pilot she can't touch will be you. I stared at the jacket, chest tightening. Rage, envy, sadness. They all collided. But underneath, a small, defiant spark ignited. I would rise. Not for her, not for Jordan, but for myself. The smell of fuel and polished metal hit me the first time I stepped onto the tarmac. Flight school. My heart raced, equal parts excitement and terror. Daniel clapped me on the shoulder. Welcome to your new life, Alex. Time to earn your wings. I swallowed hard. Wings? Feels more like falling. Falling's just part of flying, he said, smiling. Trust me, you'll figure it out. My classmates eyed me curiously. A few smirked, whispering as I passed. New guy, scared stiff, one muttered. I gritted my teeth. Yeah? Wait until I'm the one leaving you behind in the dust. Hours later, strapped into the cockpit for the first time, my hands shook over the controls. The instructor leaned in. Relax. Breathe. Let the plane respond to you, not the other way around. I nodded, repeating it like a mantra, but the voice inside my head screamed. She's gone. You're alone. You'll fail. Daniel's calm presence cut through the storm. Alex, remember, the cockpit isn't a trap. It's a sanctuary. Let your focus rise above everything else. Easier said than done, I muttered. One classmate, Mara's friend from work, laughed. You're overthinking it. Flying isn't just skill, it's guts. I clenched my jaw. Good, because I've got plenty of that now. Days blurred into weeks, emergency drills, navigation challenges, long nights memorizing protocols. Every small victory, every flawless landing, made my chest swell with pride. And every misstep reminded me of how far I'd come from despair. At night, I lingered in the cockpit after everyone left, staring at the dashboard, imagining Alina and Jordan in one of these planes. A spark ignited inside me, a quiet, fierce determination. This is mine now, I whispered. Not hers, not his. Mine. Daniel appeared behind me, arms crossed but eyes approving. You're not just learning to fly, Alex. You're learning to rise. I smiled, fists tightening over the controls. Rising. That word hummed in my veins. And for the first time in months, heartbreak felt like fuel, not a chain. The sky was gray that morning, clouds swirling like the chaos inside me. I gripped the controls tighter than usual, each bump and gust of wind reflecting the storm in my chest. Mara's voice echoed in my mind. Alex, you're letting her still control your thoughts. I muttered aloud. She's everywhere, Mara. Everywhere I look. Later, in the small cafe near the airfield, Mara leaned forward, eyes sharp. I get it. But this obsession with Jordan, it's poisoning you. Are you trying to get him? Or just get back at her? I don't know, I snapped, startling a nearby couple. Part of me wants to see him stumble, to prove he's not better than me. And part wants to reclaim my life, my control. Mara's hand pressed lightly on mine. There's a difference, Alex. One destroys you, the other builds you. Her words settled over me like a lull between turbulence. But the memories wouldn't stop. Alina laughing at some joke Jordan made, the careless way she brushed past me in social media posts, the flicker of triumph in her eyes. Rage bubbled up, raw and bitter. I hate them both, I admitted quietly, staring at the stormy sky beyond the window. You don't hate them, Mara said softly. You hate the way you felt when they were gone. You're angry at your own helplessness. That afternoon, I went solo. Clouds closed in, wind thrashing the small plane, and every flicker of light reminded me of nights spent replaying our shared plans, stolen kisses, whispered dreams. I screamed into the headset, not at the plane, not at the sky, but at the memories. By the time I landed, soaked in sweat and adrenaline, I understood. I could let the storm inside me dictate my actions, or I could let it sharpen my focus. I called Mara. I see it now. I need to rise above the anger, the obsession. I need mastery, dignity, not revenge. She smiled, a soft warmth through the line. Finally, Alex, you're learning to fly in more ways than one. I hung up and ran my hands over the controls again, eyes on the horizon. Stormy skies or not, the cockpit was mine, and so was my resolve. The cockpit smelled of polished metal and anticipation. My hands gripped the controls, heart thudding with a rhythm I hadn't felt in months. Equal parts fear and exhilaration. Daniel's voice crackled through the headset. All right, Alex, this is it. Your first solo flight. Show me what you've learned. I exhaled, staring at the runway stretching beneath me. Here goes nothing. The engines roared to life and the world transformed. The tarmac, the hangars, even the tiny figures of classmates watching. They shrank beneath me as I lifted into the sky. Clouds embraced the plane, and for a moment, every lingering ache, every memory of betrayal, fell away. I was weightless, untethered. Landing back smoothly, my classmates cheered. Finally, I didn't think you had it in you, one said with a grin. I smirked, brushing off the praise. Guess I proved you wrong. Daniel approached, eyes glinting with approval. Not just skill, Alex. Control. Focus. You've earned this. Later, I wandered near the observation deck, and my pulse hit a strange rhythm. Alina stood there, Jordan beside her, laughing, gesturing at some private joke. A pang of old emotion flickered, but it passed. I realized with clarity, I didn't want her back. I wanted the power she had abandoned. I whispered to myself, running my fingers along the plane's fuselage. This is mine. Every meter, every sky I conquer, mine. Jordan made a clumsy attempt at a demonstration in a private jet, overconfidence glaring. Engines roared, maneuvers wobbled, a near miss with the control tower sending his instructor into frantic panic. Karma, subtle and precise, was already writing its course. Mara appeared on the tarmac, a small smile playing on her lips. Look at you, Alex. The sky suits you. It feels different up here, I admitted, glancing toward the horizon. Perspective changes everything. Problems look smaller, people's games look smaller. Even hers. Daniel nodded, folding his arms. Above the clouds, Alex. That's where clarity lives. You're learning more than flying. You're learning to rise above. I exhaled, letting the engines hum beneath me. The sky stretched infinite and free, and for the first time I felt untouchable. Not because I had her or him or even their approval, but because I had myself. The keys felt heavy in my hand, but not with burden, weighty with triumph. My own jet, gleaming, sleek, and finally mine. Years of late nights, smart investments, networking, and sheer determination had led to this moment. Mara leaned against the hangar wall, eyes wide. I can't believe it. You actually did it. I smirked, running a hand along the fuselage. Believe it. It's real. As I boarded, I spotted them. Alina and Jordan, standing just beyond the perimeter, expressions frozen between awe and frustration. She opened her mouth, likely to speak, but the gate security officer politely stepped in.
Sorry, Mom.
Private property. Jordan's jaw clenched visibly. Mara whispered, I think they didn't expect you to rise this high, literally. I ignored them, taking my seat in the cockpit, the hum of the engines vibrating beneath me. No words were needed. My calm, composed authority, the confidence in my posture, and the power surrounding me said everything. Later, on the tarmac, Daniel approached. You've built more than a jet, Alex. You've built a fortress of control, financial, emotional, and personal. That's rare. Feels good, I admitted, eyes still on the horizon. Feels untouchable. One of my classmates, leaning on the hangar railing, chuckled. And to think, some people would do anything to sabotage you now. I laughed lightly, thinking of Jordan. Let them try. Actions speak louder than envy. Mara nudged me gently. Just don't forget. This power comes with responsibility. Revenge doesn't suit you. Mastery does. I nodded. I've learned that. Success is louder than anger. Independence is stronger than regret. Control is the only currency that matters. As the sun dipped low, casting gold across the tarmac, Alina finally turned to leave. No words, no pleading. Just a realization that she had lost access to a world she once thought she owned. And I was the one standing firmly in it, unshaken, unbound, and utterly free. Sunrise spilled gold across the tarmac, painting the jet in light that felt almost sacred. I ran my hands along the fuselage, inhaling deeply, savoring the quiet hum of potential beneath my fingertips. Mara appeared beside me, coffee in hand, eyes soft with pride. You look peaceful, she said, her voice warm, like you finally landed where you belong. I am, I admitted, watching the first birds take flight. Not just here, but inside myself. Every misstep, every heartbreak, it all led here. Daniel joined, his usual calm presence steadying the morning air. You've grown beyond revenge, Alex. That's the real mastery, self-control, dignity, and resilience. Nothing else matters. I used to think I needed them, I said, nodding toward the distant city where Alina and Jordan had faded from my life. Needed their approval, their recognition. Now, I only need this. I tapped the dashboard. This sky, this cockpit me. A classmate walked up, holding a small envelope. Thought you might want this. A letter of release. From old grudges, past regrets, whatever you need to let go. I smiled faintly, taking it. Perfect timing. I unfolded the note, watching the wind catch it as I let it drift skyward. It twirled once, twice, then vanished into the sunrise. A symbolic gesture, a private farewell. Mara nudged me gently. Feels good, doesn't it? It does, I said, climbing into the cockpit. Feels like freedom. Daniel gave me a small nod. The journey never truly ends, Alex. But right now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. I started the engines, the hum vibrating through my chest. As the jet lifted, the horizon expanded endlessly before me. Below, the past seemed small, distant. Above, the sky held only possibility. I whispered to myself, voice steady, confident. This is mine. My life, my choices, my flight. The sunrise broke fully over the horizon, bathing me in gold. Heartbreak had been a flight, yes, but one that taught strength, ambition, and self-love. I was free, fully, finally. I watched from the terrace of my jet hangar, coffee in hand, as news tickers scrolled across my phone. Jordan's company had suffered a massive public setback. Investors pulling out, contracts revoked, and whispers of negligence spreading like wildfire. Alina's social media, once glossy and triumphant, was suddenly quiet, her posts fewer, tentative, apologetic. Mara leaned against the railing beside me. Looks like the universe has its own way of balancing things, she said softly. I don't feel satisfaction, I admitted, surprising even myself.
No gloating.
No joy in their downfall. Good, Mara said, smiling. You've grown beyond needing revenge. This isn't about them anymore. It's about you. I nodded, staring at the horizon. Their consequences played out without my intervention, and yet the justice felt right. Subtle, inevitable, like gravity finally reclaiming its course. Daniel appeared, arms folded, eyes thoughtful. Notice how life doesn't require your interference to right itself? You've done your part by focusing on your growth. Everything else falls into place on its own. I laughed quietly. Funny. I used to think I needed to control everything to feel powerful. Now, I just watch. Detached, aware, at peace. A former classmate called out from the hangar below. Hey, the news! Did you see Alina trying to salvage her brand? She's fumbling everywhere. I shook my head, smiling faintly. Let her. Let them both. My world, my sky, doesn't need their chaos. Mara nudged me. You're free, Alex. Free to live without bitterness, without obsession. I turned toward the jet, glancing at the cockpit that had carried me through heartbreak, despair, and triumph. Every flight taught me something, I said softly. Every storm, every turbulence, every moment of rage or sorrow, it all led to this. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in streaks of fire and gold. I raised my coffee in a silent toast to the horizon. Karma, subtle and true, had unfolded naturally. I had nothing to prove, no battles to fight, and no revenge to wield. I whispered to myself, a smile tugging at my lips. The flight was never about them. It was always about me. And now,